Got 18 minutes. Then I gotta make more room on this, free up more space on this phone for more videos. I believe it was on July 8th that there was an incident between the Sincity family and Finny the Legend. Two YouTubers, two over the age of 40. I'm 47. And before I make a comment on something, I like to try to get as much information about it as possible. I'm still getting my gnats under control, or whatever these things are. They're going. Before I go on, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification. And I am going to say 5 words. It is not that serious. My heart goes out to Finny the Legend's family, and I'm assuming that the victims were him and his wife. And as far as the Sincity family, I mean, I live in Las Vegas, and where this person lived at, I was looking at the news and I said, wow, man, that's right around the corner from the pools that I service. You got to realize that when you're on YouTube and you're leaving content on YouTube, and it is said that this happened before it went social or on social media, and then led to social with, I'm assuming from what I've looked at, a visit. Finny the Legend came to visit the Strip, Fremont Street, which I detest. Very interesting. For my person, for reasons such as this. And it happened with an altercation, what I'm believing to be Finny the Legend's wife, where she was filming Manny, and he didn't like that, and words got exchanged. Things get out my face. Pepper got sprayed. People got hit with sticks. It's not that serious. It's not that serious, folks. Before I do anything, and I'll tell my wife this because she watches these, before I do anything, I have her first to think about. We don't have any children, but we got family. And before I go and do anything, or before she goes and does anything, we've got each other to think about first. When you look at what happened with Manny, shot 2 victims. And if you look at the neighborhood that he lived in, I'm quite sure those houses probably go for somewhere around $500,000. They're pretty decent houses. But what would make a person eventually say, let me throw this all away? For a lifetime of jail. And when he gets convicted, and say if they gave him 2 lives, that's two 25-year sentences in the state. Okay, he's got to do half the time anyway, I believe. So 12 years, another 24 years, 41, 51, 61. Not going to get out till he's 65. But then what about his wife that he should have been thinking about? You can't let, hold on for one moment. It won't land. You can't let an altercation get too far. Me, I'm in the public eye of sorts because I have a business in Vegas. I have a name that's on the back of my truck, so I really can't cut people off. I can look at you And mind you, I'm not going to say that I am exempt from this because it happened to me last year where someone called and asked me to do their swimming pool. And I'm assuming it was one of those Intex pools that they bought from Walmart. And of course, he stayed in the Summerlin region, and I didn't have time enough to respond to this guy as readily as he would like me to respond to him because because it was a summer season. But I did respond to him that day, and I said, "Hey, blah blah blah. If I can make time to get out there, send me pictures." He sent me pictures, and I was debating whether I should even entertain going out there because I have commercial equipment. I don't do that. But this guy kept going back and forth with me. And if you looked on Yelp, you can see him. I said some you guys see this right here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell notification. I never claimed that I was a Christian. I said the Lord is still trying to do work with me. And that was not the day to test me. And I told him a couple of things. And we're going back and forth, and we're going back and forth. And he has my personal number. And it got to the point where it was like, okay, pull up. Pull up. You know, I'm from Chi-Town. It's like, pull up. It wasn't, this, mind you, this didn't have anything to do socially, you know, any type of social media flair. But, you know, you're talking about a innocent man who here I am, you know, whistling Dixie, and somebody's attacking me. But at the same time, you know, I'm not one of those that, and this is not a bragger, right? But this is just how I was raised. You just not gonna sit there and start bullying me like that. And yeah, it got to that point. It got to that point. Ashamedly, I would say so, but I'm going to tell you that it happens. It got to that point, and I eventually said to myself, I said, it's not worth it because, you know, he was attacking the money I was making, talking about my little blue truck, showing me pictures of his little AMG. And I'm talking to the dude like, look, if I was that, hold on, dang. I'm talking to him like if I was that hard up for cash, I'd be Johnny on the spot trying to help you. So apparently, and this is what I told him. I said, apparently, you're not talking about enough money for me to get up and just start shucking and jiving to come and do this for so and so. I think you too. I'm just being real with you. I told him. I said, apparently. Yeah, he got the flashing dough. I got the flashing dough. It's all on Yelp, you know. I was like, apparently, I'm not strapped. Yeah, I live in an apartment, and that's my choice. But apparently, I'm good. I'm not. You're not talking about enough. You're not talking about enough. I got more important things to do here. Anyway. I'm just giving that example as to how two people that don't know each other could lead to something that you saw in the case of a Manny and of a Finny the Legend. And you know we was gonna pull up, and I said to myself, I said, dude, that's why are you even bothering or interested? You don't know this person. This person don't know you. He's just whatever. And I blocked him, threw him the deuces, peace. It wasn't worth, because I don't know if he had a pistol, and I know what I'm capable of, and I was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm still here a year later to tell about it. And I'm still growing business despite what he put on Yelp. And I've had to learn, my skin had to learn to become thick like that. It's like, I'm still gonna keep swimming. Yep, you don't know me. And the people that do know me or have come to say, man, hey, I like your personality, they're some of my strongest supporters. Um, and I built this business. It wasn't always that well, actually, I've always kind of been this thick in the skin. But when I really became self-employed, and years ago, when I was the A++ provider of Angie's leads, and all of a sudden it took a no, I'm not going to do those drains, or no, I'm not, that's beyond my scope, I'm not a contractor. And all of a sudden this guy, because he said no, went socially from being the ace boon coon. I told people that I was an A++ provider, and I got the stack of papers to prove it. But all of a sudden, a couple of naysayers, a couple of disgruntled people feeling some type of way about their living situation, come and try to rain on your parade. And at first, I was so upset about it, because I'm like, literally, people online have the ability to damage your reputation. They got that ability. But like a raisin, like the rose from the concrete, how does it go? Still I rise. In a rise I went. I gave something about what I thought about Brian McKnight and his son Nico, and somebody said it was misleading. And I was like, no, there was nothing misleading about what happened, or how dare you disrespect. And here's the thing, if I'm going to put this out there publicly, I've got to be subject to public scrutiny, and I also have to be subject to public praise. And it's something that usually when I catch the naysayers, that's their opinion. This is my opinion. I look at somebody else's channel, they got two supporters. And is it about that? Sometimes it is. It's like, no, if I was saying something invalid, then I wouldn't have gone so far. But before it gets into a case of what happened on the Bellagio Strip, us as men, us as men, even, and I'll tell you sometimes like this. I'm a married man, happily, and everything's not perfect between Miss Blair and I. And as with any two people, as back in the Garden of Eden, we get into our little spats. And as the men, we got to back down. It's not a pride thing. It's not a pride thing. It's saying like, hey, this has got to stop. This has got to stop. And that should have taken place between Sin City Family and Finny the Legend, where it should have been peace, brother. It's all love. But what happened was, one kept going at the other, and the other kept going at the other, until, we're talking about from 2023 all the way till they got offed right now, while this guy's plotting on them, watching their social media presence, because one guy's taunting and calling the other out. Sometimes not sometimes, but all the time, when it gets to that situation, you got to take the higher road, because it's not worth it. I looked at Finny the Legend's following, and 5.2 thousand, and he was climbing in the numbers. Sincity, they had 400. I'm thinking they might have had more, because there's a Sincity family too. And there's enough room in this space where you don't have to fight over subscribers or subscriptions. And that's like what I say about the pool business. I said there's enough room out here for all of us. I don't have to be. I'm gonna catch that sucker. I think it's the same one. I'm sorry. I don't have to take offense. I don't have to take offense. I can say, hey, be blessed and have a nice day. And that's how I usually end the hate. Hey, God bless you. And then I go on with my day, because I'm telling you, it's just one. And then I go on throughout my day. Am I really concerned about what people think of me? No, because I'm actually trying to help people. I'm trying to give people good advice. Hey, find what you're passionate about. Hey, you could tell me that my hair is bushy and I wear aviators. I don't care. You can look at my sketches and say I'm broke. I don't care. And I'll say this time and time again. I make my money out on the streets, cleaning swimming pools. I am. That's me. That's humble old me. So say what you want, or in the words of was that Cassidy? Ask about me. I'm a hustler. Um, I don't care. I care about my wife. I care about my family. I care about the subscribers that are positively supporting me. And even if you have something negative to say about me, hey, I'll work to get it better. And then I live another day. That's how I got to 47. That's how I got to 47. And it's a shame that these two guys at 40 and 41 couldn't get that male machismo, because that's what it's about. You couldn't get that male machismo, that back down, that somebody could get hurt. So, and that's one thing. When I was telling my little brother, I said, and my little brother, he's about 42, and I said, men know when to back down. But in this case, those two men did not know when to back down. They didn't know when to back down. And I'm not gonna say what trait they took on, but they didn't know when to cease fire, because two lives were lost. And one guy, probably two lives were lost. Multiple families were affected because two guys didn't know how to say, hey, let's come together, let's call a truce. I understand, if wifey's getting up in Manny's face, hey babe, come here. It's not your place to go at it with a guy. Please put your camera away. Something should have been done. Some manly ish should have been done. But that wasn't done. And this is what you have. This is what you have happening. This is what you have happening. So keep this in mind, folks. It's not that serious. Like, subscribe, share. I even tell people, if you don't like what I'm saying, give me a thumbs down. Say what you got to say. It's your opinion. It's your opinion. But hey, I appreciate you listening. I'll leave you guys with that. Peace.